Aloof by Christina Georgina Rossetti. Read for LibriVox.org by Clarica. The irresponsive silence of the land, the irresponsive sounding of the sea, speak both one message of one sense to me. Aloof, aloof, we stand aloof, so stand thou too aloof, bound with the flawless band of inner solitude. But who from thyself chained shall set thee free? What heart shall touch thy heart? What hand thy hand? And I am sometimes proud and sometimes meek, and sometimes I remember days of old, when fellowship seemed not so far to seek, and all the world and I seemed much less cold, and at the rainbow's foot lay surely gold, and hope felt strong, and life itself not weak. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Baby
by George MacDonald.
Recorded for LibriVox.org by Renee Nichols.
And hear his. Where did you come from, baby dear?
Out of the everywhere, into here.
Where did you get those eyes so blue?
Out of the sky as I came through.
What makes the light in them sparkle and spin?
Some of the starry spikes left in.
Where did you get that little tear?
I found it waiting when I got here.
What makes your forehead so smooth and high?
A soft hand stroked it as I went by.
What makes your cheek like a warm white rose?
I saw something better than anyone knows.
Whence that three-cornered smile of bliss?
3 angels gave me at once a kiss.
Where did you get this pearly ear?
God spoke, and it came out to hear.
Where did you get those arms and hands?
Love made itself into bonds and bands.
Feet, whence did you come, you darling things?
From the same box as the cherub's wings.
How did they all just come to be you?
God thought about me, and so I grew.
But how did you come to us, you dear?
God thought about you, and so I am here.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. This reading by Renee Nichols. The First Snowfall by James Russell Lowe. The snow had begun in the gloaming, and busily all the night had been heaping field and highway from a silence deep and white. Every pine and fir and hemlock were ermine too dear for an earl, and the poorest twig on the elm tree was rigid inch deep with pearl. From sheds new roofed with Carrara came chanticleer's muffled crow, and stiff rails softened to swan's down, and still fluttered down the snow. I stood and watched by the window the noiseless work of the sky, and the sudden flurries of snowbirds like brown leaves whirling by. I thought of a mound in sweet Auburn where a little headstone stood, how the flakes were folding it gently, as did robins, the babes in the woods. Up spoke our own little Mabel, saying, "Father, who makes it snow?" And I told of the good All-Father who cares for us here below. Again I looked at the snowfall, and thought of the leaden sky that arched o'er our first great sorrow, when that mound was heaped so high. I remembered the gradual patience that fell from the cloud-like snow, flake by flake, healing and hiding the scar that renewed our woe. And again to the child I whispered, "The snow that husheth all, darling, the merciful Father alone can make it fall." Then with eyes that saw not, I kissed her, and she, kissing back, could not know that my kiss was for her sister, folded close under deepening snow. End of poem.
The Indian Burying Ground by Philip Freneau. Read for LibriVox.org by Alan Davis Drake. Epigraph. The North American Indians bury their dead in a sitting posture, decorating the corpse with wampum, the images of birds, quadrupeds, etc., and, if that of a warrior, with bows, arrows, tomahawks, and other military weapons. Freneau. In spite of all the learned have said, I still my old opinion keep. The posture that we give the dead points out the soul's eternal sleep. Not so the ancients of this land. The Indian's, when from life released, again is seated with his friends, and shares again the joyous feast. His imaged birds, and painted bowl, and venison for a journey dressed, bespeak the nature of the soul, activity that knows no rest. His bow, for actions ready bent, and arrows with a head of stone, can only mean that life is spent, and not the old ideas gone. Thou, stranger, that shalt come this way, no fraud upon the dead commit. Observe the swelling turf, and say they do not lie, but here they sit. Here still a lofty rock remains, on which the curious eye may trace, now wasted half by wearing rains, the fancies of a ruder race. Here still an aged elm aspires, beneath whose far projecting shade, and which the shepherd still admires, the children of the forest played. There oft a restless Indian queen, pale Sheba with her braided hair, and many a barbarous form is seen to chide the man that lingers there. By midnight moons or moistened dews, in habit for the chase arrayed, the hunter still the deer pursues, the hunter and the deer a shade. And long shall timorous fancy see the painted chief, and pointed spear, and reason's self shall bow the knee to shadows and illusions here. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
This is a LibriVox recording. Jabberwocky by Lewis Carroll. Read by Derek Jensen. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the mome raths outgrabe. Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the Jubjub bird, and shun the frumious Bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand, long time the manxome foe he sought. So rested he by the Tumtum tree, and stood awhile in thought. And as in uffish thought he stood, the Jabberwock, with eyes of flame, came whiffling through the tulgey wood, and burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through the vorpal blade went snicker snack. He left it dead, and with its head he went galumphing back. And hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. O frabjous day! Callooh! Callay! He chortled in his joy. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the mome raths outgrabe. End of Jabberwocky by Lewis Carroll. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain.
Light by Francis William Bourdillon. Read for LibriVox.org by Michael Robinson, Carbondale, Illinois. The night has 1,000 eyes, and the day but one. Yet the light of the bright world dies with the dying sun. The mind has 1,000 eyes, and the heart but one. Yet the light of a whole life dies when love is done. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
On Westminster Bridge by William Wordsworth. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. On Westminster Bridge by William Wordsworth, read by Mary J. Sack, 7th of November, 2007. Composed upon Westminster Bridge, September the 3rd, 1802. Earth has not anything to show more fair. Dull would he be of soul who could pass by a sight so touching in its majesty. This city now doth, like a garment, wear the beauty of the morning. Silent, bare, ships, towers, domes, theatres and temples lie open unto the fields and to the sky, all bright and glittering in the smokeless air. Never did sun more beautifully steep in his first splendour valley, rock, or hill. Ne'er saw I, ne'er felt, a calm so deep. The river glideth at its own sweet will. Dear God, the very houses seem asleep, and all that mighty heart is lying still. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Remember by Christina Georgina Rossetti. As read by Jessica Sidney. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to find out how you can volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Remember. Remember me when I am gone away, gone far away into the silent land, when you can no more hold me by the hand, nor I half turn to go, yet turning stay. Remember me when no more day by day you tell me of your future that you planned. Only remember me, you understand. It will be late to counsel then, or pray. Yet if you should forget me for a while, and afterwards remember, do not grieve. For if the darkness and corruption leave a vestige of thoughts that once I had, better by far you should forget and smile, than that you should remember and be sad. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Silent Mouth by Cathal O'Brien. Read for LibriVox.org by Clarica. O little green leaf on the bough, you hear the lark in the morn. You hear the gray feet of the wind stir in the shimmering corn. You hear, low down in the grass, the singing shee as they pass. Do you ever hear, O little green flame, my loved one calling, whispering my name? O little green leaf on the bough, like my lips you must ever be dumb, for a maiden may never speak until love to her heart says come. A mouth in its silence is sweet, but my heart cries loud when we meet, and I turn my head with a bitter sigh when the boy who has stolen my love, unheeding, goes by. I have made my heart as the stones in the street for his tread. I have made my love as the shadow that falls from his dear gold head. But the stones with his footsteps ring, and the shadow keeps following. And just as the quiet shadow goes ever beside or before, so must I go silent and lonely and loveless for evermore. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A slumber did my spirit seal, by William Wordsworth. Read for LibriVox.org by David Butler. A slumber did my spirit seal. I had no human fears. She seemed a thing that could not feel the touch of earthly years. No motion has she now, no force. She neither hears nor sees, rolled round in earth's diurnal course, with rocks and stones and trees. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Solitude by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Michael Robinson, Carbondale, Illinois. Laugh and the world laughs with you. Weep and you weep alone. For the sad old earth must borrow its mirth, but has trouble enough of its own. Sing and the hills will answer. Sigh, it is lost on the air. The echoes bound to a joyful sound, but shrink from voicing care. Rejoice, and men will seek you. Grieve, and they turn and go. They want full measure of all your pleasure, but they do not need your woe. Be glad, and your friends are many. Be sad, and you lose them all. There are none to decline your nectared wine, but alone you must drink life's gall. Feast, and your halls are crowded. Fast, and the world goes by. Succeed and give, and it helps you live, but no man can help you die. There is room in the halls of pleasure for a long and lordly train, but one by one we must all file on through the narrow aisles of pain. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Song of Myself, Section 18, by Walt Whitman. Read for LibriVox.org by Alan Davis Drake. With music strong I come, with my cornets and my drums. I play not marches for accepted victors only. I play marches for conquered and slain persons. Have you heard that it was good to gain the day? I also say it is good to fall. Battles are lost in the same spirit in which they are won. I beat and pound for the dead. I blow through my embouchures, my loudest and gayest for them. Vivas to those who have failed, and to those whose war vessels sank in the sea, and to those themselves who sank in the sea, and to all generals that lost engagements, and all overcome heroes, and the numberless unknown heroes equal to the greatest heroes known. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Song of Myself, Section 19, by Walt Whitman. Read for LibriVox.org by Alan Davis Drake. This is the meal equally set, this the meat for natural hunger. It is for the wicked just the same as the righteous. I make appointments with all. I will not have a single person slighted or left away. The kept woman, sponger, thief are hereby invited. The heavy-lipped slave is invited. The venereally is invited. There shall be no difference between them and the rest. This is the press of a bashful hand. This the float and odor of hair. This the touch of my lips to yours. This the murmur of yearning. This the far-off depth and height reflecting my own face. This the thoughtful merge of myself and the outlet again. Do you guess I have some intricate purpose? Well, I have. For the 4th month showers have, and the mica on the sides of a rock has. Do you take it I would admonish? Does the daylight astonish? Does the early redstart twittering through the woods? Do I astonish more than they? This hour I tell things in confidence. I might not tell everybody, but I will tell you. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Song of Myself, Section 29. Read for LibriVox.org by Alan Davis Drake. Blind, loving, wrestling touch, sheathed, hooded, sharp-toothed touch. Did it make you ache so, leaving me? Parting tracked by arriving, perpetual payment of perpetual loan, rich showered rain, and recompense richer afterward. Sprouts take and accumulate, stand by the curb prolific and vital, landscapes projected masculine, full-sized and golden. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Song of Myself, Section 31, read for LibriVox.org by Alan Davis Drake. I believe a leaf of grass is no less than the journey work of the stars, and the pismire is equally perfect, and a grain of sand, and the egg of the wren, and the tree-toad is a chef-d'oeuvre for the highest, and the running blackberry would adorn the parlors of heaven, and the narrowest hinge in my hand puts to scorn all machinery, and the cow crunching with depressed head surpasses any statue, and a mouse is miracle enough to stagger sextillions of infidels. I find I incorporate gneiss, coal, long-threaded moss, fruits, grains, esculent roots, and am stuccoed with quadrupeds and birds all over, and have distanced what is behind me for good reasons, but call anything back again when I desire it. In vain the speeding or shyness, in vain the plutonic rocks send their old heat against my approach. In vain the mastodon retreats beneath its own powdered bones. In vain objects stand leagues off and assume manifold shapes. In vain the ocean settling its hollows and the great monsters lying low. In vain the buzzard houses herself with the sky. In vain the snake slides through the creepers and logs. In vain the elk takes to the inner passes of the woods. In vain the razor-billed auk sails far north to Labrador. I follow quickly. I ascend to the nest in the fissure of the cliff. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sonnet by Arthur Davidson Fick. Read for LibriVox.org by Clarica. There are strange shadows fostered of the moon, more numerous than the clear-cut shade of day. Go forth, when all the leaves whisper of June, into the dusk of swooping bats at play. Or go into that late November dusk, when hills take on the noble lines of death, and on the air the faint, astringent musk of rotting leaves pours vaguely troubling breath. Then shall you see shadows whereof the sun knows nothing. Aye, 1,000 shadows there shall leap and flicker and stir and stay and run, like petrels of the changing foul or fair, like ghosts of twilight, of the moon, of him whose homeland lies past each horizon's rim. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Things That Are More Excellent by William Watson. Read for LibriVox.org by Michael Robinson. As we wax older on this earth, till many a toy that charmed us seems empty of beauty, stripped of worth, and mean as dust, and dead as dreams. For gods that perished, shows that passed, some recompense the fates have sent. Thrice lovelier shine the things that last, the things that are more excellent. Tired of the Senate's barren brawl, an hour with silence we prefer, where statelier rise the woods than all yon towers of talk at Westminster. Let this man prate, or that man plot on fame or place or title bent. The votes of veering crowds are not the things that are more excellent. Shall we perturb and vex our soul for wrongs which no true freedom mar, which no man's upright walk control, and from no guiltless deed debar? What odds, though tonguesters heal, or leave unhealed the grievance they invent? To things, not phantoms, let us cleave, the things that are more excellent. Not nobler is than to be free. The stars of heaven are free because, in amplitude of liberty, their joy is to obey the laws. From servitude to freedom's name, free thou mind in bondage pent. Depose the fetish and proclaim the things that are more excellent. And in appropriate dust be hurled that dull, punctilious God whom they that call their tiny clan the world serve and obsequiously obey, who con the ritual of routine with minds to one dead likeness blent, and never e'en in dreams have seen the things that are more excellent. To dress, to call, to dine, to break no canon of the social code, the little laws that lackeys make, the futile decalogue of mode. How many a soul for these things lives with pious passion, grave intent, while nature careless-handed gives the things that are more excellent. To hug the wealth ye cannot use, and lack the riches all may gain. Oh, blind and wanting wit to choose, who house the chaff and burn the grain. And still doth life with starry towers lure to the bright divine ascent. Be yours the things ye would, be ours the things that are more excellent. The grace of friendship, mind and heart, linked with their fellow heart and mind, the gains of science, gifts of art, the sense of oneness with our kind, the thirst to know and understand, a large and liberal discontent. These are the goods in life's rich hand, the things that are more excellent. In faultless rhythm the ocean rolls, a rapturous silence thrills the skies, and on this earth are lovely souls that softly look with aidful eyes. Though dark, O God, thy course and track, I think thou must at least have meant that naught which lives should wholly lack the things that are more excellent. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Vastness by Tennyson, read for LibriVox.org by Mindy H. Many a hearth upon our dark globe sighs after many a vanished face. Many a planet by many a sun may roll with the dust of a vanished race. Raving politics never at rest as this poor earth's pale history runs. What is it all but a trouble of ants in the gleam of a million of suns? Lies upon this side, lies upon that side, truthless violence mourned by the wise, thousands of voices drowning his own in a popular torrent of lies upon lies. Stately purposes, valor in battle, glorious annals of army and fleet, death for the right cause, death for the wrong cause, trumpets of victory, groans of defeat. Innocence seethed in her mother's milk, and charity setting the martyr aflame, thraldom who walks with the banner of freedom, and recks not to ruin a realm in her name. Faith at her zenith, or all but lost in the gloom of doubts that darken the schools, craft with a bunch of all heel in her hand, followed up by her vasal legion of fools. Trade flying over 1,000 seas with her spice and her vintage, her silk and her corn, desolate offing, sailorless harbors, famishing populace, wharves forlorn. Star of the morning, hope in the sunrise, gloom of the evening, life at a close. Pleasure who flaunts on her wide downway with her flying robe and her poisoned rose. Pain that has crawled from the corpse of pleasure, a worm which writhes all day and at night, stirs up again in the heart of the sleeper and stings him back to the curse of the light. Wealth with his wines and his wedded harlots, honest poverty, bare to the bone, opulent avarice, lean as poverty, flattery gilding the rift in a throne. Fame blowing out from her golden trumpet, a jubilant challenge to time and to fate. Slander, her shadow, sowing the nettle on all the laureled graves of the great. Love for the maiden crowned with marriage, no regrets for aught that has been, household happiness, gracious children, debtless competence, golden mean. National hatreds of whole generations, and pygmy spites of the village spire, vows that will last to the last death ruckle, and vows that are snapped in a moment of fire. He that has lived for the lust of the minute, and died in the doing it, flesh without mind. He that has nailed all flesh to the cross, till self died out in the love of his kind. Spring and summer and autumn and winter, and all these old revolutions of earth, all new old revolutions of empire, change of the tide, what is all of it worth? What the philosophies, all of the sciences, poesy, varying voices of prayer, all that is noblest, all that is basest, all that is filthy with all that is fair? What is it all if we all of us end but in being our own corpse coffins at last, swallowed in vastness, lost in silence, drowned in the deeps of a meaningless past? What but a murmur of gnats in the gloom, or a moment's anger of bees in their hive? Peace, let it be, for I loved him, and love him forever. The dead are not dead, but alive. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
War Sonnets by Rupert Brooke. 4. The Dead. Read for LibriVox by Andy Minter. Tring, England. Remembrance Day, 2007. These hearts were woven of human joys and cares, washed marvellously with sorrow, swift to mirth. The years had given them kindness. Dawn was theirs, and sunset, and the colours of the earth. These had seen movement and heard music, known slumber and waking, loved, gone proudly friended, felt the quick stir of wonder, sat alone, touched flowers and furs and cheeks. All this is ended. There are waters blown by changing winds to laughter, and lit by the rich skies all day, and after, frost, with a gesture, stays the waves that dance and wandering loveliness. He leaves a white unbroken glory, a gathered radiance, a width, a shining peace under the night. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Year by Carl Sandburg. Recorded for LibriVox.org by Clarica. 1. A storm of white petals, buds throwing open baby fists into hands of broad flowers. 2. Red roses running upward, clambering to the clutches of life soaked in crimson. 3. Rabbles of tattered leaves holding golden, flimsy hopes against the tramplings into the pits and gullies. 4. Hoarfrost and silence, only the muffling of winds, dark and lonesome, great lullabies to the long sleepers. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.